I'm Clive De Silva, and I'm featuring in this episode of Car and Me for Hi TV. I'm a classic car enthusiast and lover. If I were to explain as to how I got into classic cars, it was actually when I was 4 years old. I've always had the love for cars. My father is a massive enthusiast of cars. So when I was 4 years old was the first time my father brought a Triumph TR3, which is the classic car that we got. Ever since I saw that car, it changed my life in terms of cars and classic cars. It was, I would say, the genesis of my love for cars. I was completely overtaken by it, and it sort of started my passion for classic cars. As I mentioned, the TR3 was the first car that actually I saw and fell in love with, and I'm lucky enough to say that 31 years later, I still have it. Classic cars is something that some people don't understand, the mad love that we have for classic cars, because they're impractical, they are hot, sweaty, noisy and unreliable. But that, to me, I think is the most important thing, or the most endearing thing about classic cars. That to me is the most endearing thing about classic cars. It's the fact that every day when you get into it, you don't know whether it would start. And when you're driving, you get all the sights, the sounds, the smells, which you don't get in a modern day car. It's also to do with the style. When you look at cars from the 1930s all the way to the 1970s and 80s, the way the shapes have turned from more curved shapes to the more boxy shapes of today. It's something that you don't see in modern day cars as well, the beauty of them, and the fact that they last for so long. The style has been, style is completely unbroken for all these years. It's not just about keeping the cars and keeping them nice and modern or nice and clean and polished. It's about experiencing them. So with our cars as well, we don't just park it and keep it and once in 2 months just start it and drive it. It's a matter of enjoying and experiencing the cars. If you take all our cars, every car has been either raced, rallied, drag raced, it's done gymkhana events, it's done so many things from Katakurunda to Pannala. We've driven them all the way to Dambulla, Sigiriya and all that. So it's been an amazing experience. We've done Mahagastara hill climb, which was an amazing experience for me and for my father, and we enjoyed it as a family. And I'm the only son with 3 other sisters, so you would think that I'm the only person who's car crazy in this family, but it's actually all my sisters are also very much into cars, and we're a car family. My sisters and my mother have been very, shall I say, understanding, because every day sometimes when you come, there are car parts all over the house. And all over the floor, and the fact that my mother and my sisters have not created any drama and allowed us to do this crazy thing that we do has helped us a lot. Basically, with classic cars, it's a very long process of restoring them. Because spares are not the most available. So over the years when we were restoring cars, it took a very long time. Some cars are done pretty quickly, maybe in about a year. But for example, one of our cars, which is the Jaguar SS100, took 7 years to restore from start to finish. It was a very long process because it's a very rare car as well. ultimately, when it's complete, it's the most satisfying and the most amazing experience and feeling to have that you finally recreated this car from a bunch of rust to what it is today. And we experience the cars on a daily basis on the roads, on the track, as much as we possibly can. To me, classic cars and any car, whether it's a classic car or a new car, it's about the driving, it's about the experience. That's what got me from a young age, and it still has me today. The satisfaction and the enjoyment you get in driving these cars, the things you see in people's faces from a young day itself. I was amazed when you drive these cars on Gaul Road or Rajagiri Road or something. People are just amazed to see these cars on the road. They come to you and they ask, is this a new car? Is this an old car? You know, how many the most popular question is, how many kilometers does it do per liter? We don't know because these cars are not fuel efficient. But you know, it brings happiness to people, not just me as an owner and us as a family. It's brought so much happiness. You see people's faces when they smile and whatnot. It makes it so much more satisfying to have these and to enjoy them. But I mean, I would not probably have been this much into cars or had this much experience if not for my father, who introduced me to it in a very young age, who taught me how to drive them, how to maintain them. And because of him, that passion has come towards to me. And even all these years later, 35 years later, we're still working on cars together and talking about cars. From a very young age till now, these cars have sort of inspired me and have really grabbed my attention and made me love driving, love cars in general. And yeah, I mean, I started at the age of 4 and I'm still tinkering and working and trying to see what the next project is. And yeah, I mean, it all started with the Triumph TR3 in 1988. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to the next project and building this passion I have for classics. So my actual profession is in marketing and advertising. I have a company that I run with my sister called 360 Marketing. So that's what generally pays the bills on a daily basis. But the love that I had for classic cars, that me and my dad both had for classic cars, we've decided now that hobby, we make it into a sort of a business in bringing back classic cars from possibly some positions where you don't think they could come back again. So we launched a company called Restorations Inc. And it's something that me and my father run, where we restore classic cars for enthusiasts who possibly don't have the experience or expertise to restore cars, but have the love and the passion for these amazing cars. And the reason, one of the reasons that made us actually want to do this, apart from it being our passion and something that we do on a regular basis, is that over the recent years, the passion and love for classic cars has increased like a crazy amount in Sri Lanka. Lots and lots of people, old and young, are looking to buy their first classic car or create a collection of classic cars, which has led to a lot of people, maybe, looking to us to help them in achieving their dream of owning a classic car. Some people, probably it's their first classic car. The others, it's been people who have been collecting over the years. So for us, since we've been restoring classic cars and sort of enjoying them for over 30 years, it's probably easier for us to source these parts and to really restore the cars to the position that the owners would want it to be. And it's an actual experience for us and for me as well, because we get to experience new and unique cars that we probably haven't we don't own or we haven't experienced before, and it's a fun thing for us to actually get involved in, and sort of the process of working on these cars and trying to bring the owners' dreams to reality, and then seeing their expression when they see the final product is something really amazing. And it reminds me of the time, for example, as I said, when I first saw my first classic car, which was the TR3. It's a mixture of emotion, fun, excitement, and also, the fact that it's been done is such a release for the owners and for us as well. And what we always tell the owners of these cars is that, again, as I said, it's not about just keeping them mint condition and parked at home. It's about driving them and taking part in lots of events. So myself and my entire family actually, and most of the people that do come for us are part of the Classic Car Club of Ceylon. And I'm a committee member in that club as well. So we work very hard in making sure that people are made aware of classic cars and restoring cars and bringing them back to life, so to speak, and seeing them on the roads. And to do that, we take part in a lot of events. We organize a lot of events, from car rallies to track days to hill climbs to motor shows. All with the single goal of making sure that these cars are appreciated and are made more accessible to people to see and to experience and enjoy. I'm still restoring the Ford Anglia, and I'm not keeping it completely original. I'm doing a resto mod where I'm taking an old car and doing it in a way where it's a little bit more powerful, it's a little bit more sporty and racy, and I hope to complete that project very soon. And that's an example of a more cost-effective or affordable restoration. It still takes time, it still takes money, but it's still more, I'd say affordable than some of the old cars like BMGs and that you see on the road. Lots of new events coming up in the next few months. A couple of car rallies, a couple of long drives to maybe down south. All these are organized by the club as well, and it's a good way of meeting old and young generations and sort of swapping ideas and learning and understanding. The classic car culture in Sri Lanka is expanding like crazy right now, and I hope it continues to grow, because there's nothing more amazing than seeing some of these cars on the road. Suddenly, out of the blue, you see a classic car driving past you, and that's an amazing feeling, an amazing visual. It's just the passion that we all have, and it's just continuing to grow. like classic cars? Well, there are so many reasons for it. One is the look of them, the style. The other thing is how everything is not automatic, everything is manual and analog. So, changing a manual gear, the clutch, it's not very comfortable and all those things. That just makes it so much more of an experience for me. And it's also just, when you're going on the road, the looks that you get, and all those things, those are like one of the very important things to me, because it's like the basic foundations of driving. No air conditioning, no power steering. So it's just pure driving pleasure. My favorite classic car, that's a very tough question to answer, because I don't think I have just one. But if I were to talk of like dream cars, there is the Jaguar E-Type, which is a dream car for many classic car lovers. There's a Ferrari 250 GTO, which is another dream car for a lot of people. And of course, the first car that I actually got to know, which is my Triumph TR3, I would say that's one of my favorite classic cars as well. I honestly don't think you need to. I personally would change any classic car to a different sort of feel or anything, purely because it was built like this and I would like to experience it like that. Of course, like I mentioned, I have a Ford Anglia which I'm trying to restore to be a little bit more powerful and a little bit more modern. So if at all, that's the maximum thing I would do, but I wouldn't change too much, because the cars were built like this and I would like to keep it the way they are, but just with a little bit more power, because I always like a little bit more power. So. First time, I would say I was probably about 7 or 8 years old, in my back garden, when my father probably let me just move one of the cars just up and down the garden. My father actually taught me to learn in a Triumph Herald. His thing was, whenever I finished my homework, he would spend 10 minutes teaching me how to drive. So I was probably about 8 years old. Well, the feeling is very hard to describe, because it was probably the first time I was actually driving a car. So it's like it was completely new to me, and it was just excitement that finally I get to, I've dreamed about these cars since I was born, I'd say. So just getting the ability to drive it for the first time and be behind the wheel of a car for the first time, it's one of the most amazing feelings. Except classics, well, I mean, I love all types of cars. It's not just limited to classic cars. It's modern cars as well. I read magazines. I go online. I have a whole bunch of friends who we get together, and more often than not, we just chat about cars. And I'm lucky as well, because my fiance also is a classic car, a car enthusiast. So I guess I count myself lucky. So locally, currently, classic car racing, it's not done like a championship or like, you know, an official event. The Classic Car Club of Ceylon organizes classic car events at Pannala, Katakurunda, where it's done very safely and carefully because these cars are very expensive and also we have to be careful. But my dream is that someday that we can have our own sort of event, a proper classic racing event like they do overseas, and conduct it. But right now it's just done purely for fun and not for the competition. My favorite racing track, obviously not in Sri Lanka, but if I were to say overseas, it'll probably be Spa in Belgium, because I'm a Formula One fan as well, so it would be that. Can I say both? Because I would like to race in both classics and modern cars, because to me a car is, whether it's old or new, it's still a car, and whatever has four wheels I enjoy. So only people I can trust or I know can drive. So I would say, apart from my immediate family, the only other people who have probably driven my cars are probably my two best friends, who I know can drive, and yeah, other than that, it's very rare that I give anyone else to drive my cars. Well, the classic car thing, basically, more often than not, it's mainly the weekends that I have the time to spend, because weekdays I'm at work. But in the weekends, from Saturday morning, mostly Saturday is a day where we work a lot on the cars. And then Sunday is spent maybe taking it out for a drive in the morning or the afternoon when the traffic is a little less.